Okay, so today what I wanted to do was take some of my captures that I use on the Quad Cortex and basically create a exact duplicate preset on the Nano Cortex and really kind of prove out that they sound the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a few of the Tone King amalgam captures that I use on the Quad Cortex quite a bit. This is a capture pack I bought from Amalgam of a Tone King Imperial amp, and I've moved those onto the Nano Cortex, and I'm going to use those on both devices, and we'll switch back and forth and see how they sound. So let's go ahead and we're going to fire up our Cortex app on my phone. All right, here it is. And you can see I've got 4 presets set up, basically using 4 different captures. One is using the Tone King Imperial Clean, one's an edge, one's a crunch, and then one's a lead. So we'll run through those real quick so you can hear generally what they sound like. So here's the clean. The edge sounds like this. The crunch is like this. And the lead is like this. So for most of the captures, I'm not tweaking anything on the settings for the capture. For the lead, I am bringing down the treble a little bit and pushing the bass and mid just to warm it up. For all of these, I'm using this Fender 2x12 IR. So this is an IR from Amalgam that I use a lot. And I'm using the same IR on the Quad Cortex and the Nano Cortex. And for the effects, again, I'm trying to keep them exactly the same on those 2 devices. So we've got a noise gate, we've got a delay, and we've got a reverb. So if we compare it to the Quad Cortex preset, you can see we've got input gate, we've got our 4 captures that we're going to use. We've got our IR, it's the same one. You can see where I've got the high and low pass filter set. If we go to this, you can see I've got the settings the same. And then delay, we've got an analog delay, a stereo analog delay. I kept the settings exactly the same. And for the reverb, we're using the Mind Hall reverb. And again, I kept the settings exactly the same. So let's go ahead and compare how they sound on the 2 different devices. And we'll start on the Nano Cortex. So here is the clean tone. And we're going to switch over to the Quad Cortex and hear how that sounds. Okay, let's switch to the edge tone. So we'll start on the Quad Cortex. All right, let's switch over to the Nano Cortex. I have to say, it seems to me that the captures sound a little bit different. You can see I've got them set up exactly the same. And I feel like on the Nano Cortex, there's a little more top end. Let's switch back over to the Quad Cortex. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the crunch. So here's the crunch on the Quad Cortex. And let's switch over to the Nano Cortex. Again, these are the same captures, and they sound really similar, but I don't know, just at least here in the room, it feels like the Nano Cortex has a little more presence to it. We switch back over. I mean, maybe it's just a difference of levels. I mean, I'm trying to keep the levels exactly the same, but there's a slight difference in volumes. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the lead. You can see we're using a lead warm. I'm pushing the bass and mids a little bit and bringing down the treble a little bit. All right, let's switch over to the Nano. All right, let's go ahead and switch back. So once again, I feel like the Nano Cortex has a little more top end to it. And maybe it's because I've got the settings a little off. I feel like I've generally got the EQ settings on this preset the same. I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting comparison. They are, 95% the same, but I almost feel like on some of the tones, least on the cleaner tones, I like how the Nano Cortex sounds because it seems to have a little more top-end presence to it. On the gainier tone, I think the Quad Cortex sounds better because it's a little more warmth to it. So I'll be interested to hear how it sounds through the recording. I'm responding here in the room to what I'm hearing through the studio monitors, but maybe it'll sound different through the USB interface into the recording. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you hearing a difference, or do they sound the same to you? And as always, thanks for watching.